What's going on, everyone? So Scream 7 was already looking like it was in a bit of a dumpster fire, right? You lose Melissa Barrera, there's all the backlash and just outcry in regards to that. Then you find out Jenna Ortega isn't involved. It's like, well, who's going to be in this movie? Who is the cast? Who's going to be the lead? What are we going to do here, right? Like, who's leading the helm of this film? Well, at least, we got Christopher Landon, we got the director locked up, we in the background of the studio, we can kind of figure things out, and Scream 7 can still happen, right? There's the reports that come out that, look, Scream 7 is only a couple months delayed, they'll figure it out, and we'll get a great movie. Well, you could say goodbye to that, because Christopher Landon is no longer a part of Scream 7. So even the whole, at least you got the director, at least you got, things in line for this film to still have some success. You don't even have a director. So now you have no leads for your film. You have no director for the film. Christopher Landon, he had this to say over on Twitter or X, whatever. I guess now is a good time as any to announce I formally exited Scream 7 weeks ago. This will disappoint some and delight others. It was a dream job to turn into a nightmare. And my heart did break for everyone involved. Everyone. But it's time to move on. I have nothing. So, take that as you may. Christopher Landon is officially out on Scream 7. So, Scream 7 is literally starting from ground zero. They have no director, no cast as far as we know. There's rumors that some people may have signed on or not. But even if there is, like, who's to say now that those people aren't going to leave and those people aren't going to depart? It's just, it was already a dumpster fire before. Now there's nothing. There's no movie. There's nothing. Right? Like, you have no direction. You have nothing. And I don't know what the answer is for Scream outside of just, like, fresh start. I'm telling you, I said it when Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega and that whole thing happened, right? They should just start fresh. You had the conclusion, you ended the Scream 5 or 6. The problem with Scream and like Paramount and all that, they spent so much money to claim the rights, they have no choice but to make more movies. Otherwise they're taking like a $400 million loss here. So they need to try to pump out some movies. They need to try to get stuff done. They've already paid for the script writers and all that. So they're kind of in this spot where it's like, they got to get something done. Now, you could go the Neve Campbell route, right? Pay Neve a bunch of money, whatever it takes to just get her to return, and basically make this a Sydney-led film. You could do, the Stu route and just grasp at straws and show desperation and just have a showdown. Maybe even do like the requel route where it's like, it's a continuation after Scream 1 and maybe a show Stu alive or something. You go that route. I personally hope not. I don't want them to go that route. It's not even like the Stu thing, like, which obviously many of you are aware that I'm not a fan of, but even beyond that, like, the one thing that I love about Scream is you never have to reboot it. You never have to do like a direct sequel. Like, you never have to do any of that stuff. You can just keep the party going forever, right? Like, and even if you did bring Neve back for another story, I still think you're best to just keep it Neve related, keep it Neve focused, right? It's all about her, just have a new killer, have a new storyline, whatever, right? I think that would be the best approach, personally. I think that they should avoid trying to make any tie-ins, any past. And this is also why I've talked about, like, when you handcuff yourself to the past and stuff happens, there was no preparation. Like, they thought everything was just mapped out beautiful and perfect. There was no, like, oh, well, what happens if this doesn't work out? Or what happens if, Melissa Barrera ends up leaving or Jenna leaves or whatever? Like, there doesn't seem to be any, like, real structure on, like, okay, well, what's worst case scenario? Which you need to always plan for. And it's why I don't like the idea of films, especially Scream, having these direct tie-ins to the past. They handcuff themselves. So now they're in this weird spot to where it's like, you either just kind of move on or you try to continue the story without the characters, but then that doesn't really make sense because you want the characters involved. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And I don't know. I personally think, as much as I love Nev, as much as I love Sydney, I just think the best course of action for them is just to move on. New cast, new story, new everything. Scream 6 had somewhat of a conclusive ending, right? Like you can use that and argue that was the best course of action. Okay, you had Sam and Tara ride off into the sunset. Sam chose, her sister. Life's good. Everything's happy. Time to move on, right? Like you can do that. You can justify that. You can make that argument. All of that. But I don't know what the other answer is other than like, hey, we need to just have a fresh start. Because if you do another Sydney-centric film, like, yes, again, like I mentioned, you could kind of have Sam and Tara and all that stuff kind of be done and over, and you have somewhat what appears to be a conclusive ending. But there's also going to be that need if you go with Sydney, because she was a part of that story and because you had the Billy arc and because you had all these things. It's like, well, now it's basically its own thing again. So you're kind of still moving away, which at that point, again, just start fresh. Get a new director, get a new cast, write a new story, take a year off, right? And develop a new trilogy. I mean, you could pump out 3 new films for Scream and do a whole new trilogy. Right? You don't need to have it come out in 2024. Have it come out in 2025. Relax. Take a breath. Find a new cast. Find a new director. Find new everything. Write a new story. Get a new trilogy lined up. And boom, we're in business. Easy peasy. That's what I would do. That's how I would approach this. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. So I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree? Do you think like, yeah, new, fresh start. Everybody's gone anyway. You might as well just take a new approach. Again, I lean towards that being the best course of action. I really like. Sorry, I'm just thinking as I'm recording. You know what I mean? And it's just like I just think that makes the most sense because the beauty of Scream is you can keep going, right? Like. Ghostface is always somebody different. You're not handcuffed to a Michael Myers or a Freddy Krueger or a Jason Voorhees or something like that, right? Like you don't have to worry about like, oh, well, if this character dies or this character, like we can't do a Nightmare on Elm Street film without Freddy Krueger, right? You can't do a Halloween without Michael Myers, right? Like it's things like that. I really lean towards like, okay, just start fresh. You don't have to worry about the whole, is this, like, how do we approach Scream without Nev, without, Melissa, without Tara? You don't have to. The Ghostface is Scream. It's something I've always talked about. Ghostface is Scream. As long as you have Ghostface, you have a Scream film. There are some people that dress up as Sidney Prescott, stuff like that, but you could show a picture of Nev Campbell and as Sidney Prescott and walk the street and ask 100 people, and people might know, like, oh, that's Nev. You might get a couple people that's like, oh, that's from Scream or whatever. But if you show everyone Ghostface, like, everyone knows Ghostface. My 2-year-olds knew Ghostface when they were 2, right? Like, Ghostface is Scream. So just create a new story with new characters, have new tie-ins, all of it. Like, I just think that's the best approach. Just have a great characters with a great story. You could pump out again a new trilogy. You could literally start a new trilogy. This is the studio's opportunity to just fresh new trilogy. Here you go, wrapped in a bow. You're welcome. So why do anything else? Why try to fit puzzle pieces that aren't going to fit? My point is, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Keep it simple, right? Tell a new story. You have Ghostface. Bring in some new cast, bring in some fresh faces, try to get somebody that's... Scream has always done a good job of finding those, those gem of an actor or actress, or their up-and-coming actors and actresses. Like, go do that. Tell a new convincing story, be great, keep it fresh, keep it exciting, keep it brutal, keep it dark, all that. It's a home run. Congratulations. But, again, sorry, kind of another rant there after I was trying to close it out, but it's just... I just, again, I'm just thinking about it. I'm just like, yeah, this is the way that they should go. But do you feel the same way? Again, I have a feel, whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.